Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are not just talking theory. We are stepping directly into the line of fire. I want you to picture a scenario that I think every single SAP consultant, whether you're 20 years in or literally 2 months in, has nightmares about.
Oh yeah, the severity one scenario.
Exactly. It's Friday afternoon. Of course, it is always a Friday afternoon. You're packing up, maybe thinking about grabbing a drink, and then a ticket lands on your desk. Or worse, your phone rings, and it's the CIO.
And the tone is never friendly. Not on a Friday.
No. The trucks are literally idling at the loading dock. The warehouse guys are standing around with their scanners just looking at errors. The finance director is screaming because billing is blocked for the entire quarter-end close. And the ticket just says, pricing is not determining in the sales order.
It creates a total paralysis of the business. I mean, if you can't price it, you can't bill it. If you can't bill it, you can't recognize revenue. It is a heart attack for the company.
And usually I feel like the first reaction is panic. You start clicking things randomly, you turn things off and on again. But today, we are going to stop the panic. We are going to become the SAP pricing detectives. We've got a massive stack of documentation here, technical notes, field guides, and some serious architectural blueprints that are going to take us from, I hope this works, to I know exactly why this failed.
We're moving from functional guessing to solution architect precision. That's the goal.
Right. And the first thing that jumps out from our research here is a philosophy shift. Before we even touch a single T code, the source material says we have to change how we actually think about the pricing engine. I feel like a lot of it's just treated as a black box. You put coins in, and hopefully a candy bar comes out.
That is the biggest mistake you can make. When you view pricing as magic, you feel helpless when it breaks. You think, oh, the system is glitching. But the system doesn't glitch. The pricing engine is a strict, logical, sequential algorithm. It is code. It's math. It is not a mood.
I love that. It's not a mood. The system isn't just mad at you today.
Exactly. It is doing exactly what it was told to do. Think of the pricing engine like a biological process. It builds a DNA strand for that specific sales order. It triggers a search, it executes a query, and it fetches a result. If it fails, it's because the DNA was mutated somewhere up the chain. Our job today is to trace that mutation.
So we have a roadmap for this investigation. We're going to look at the 3 main ways this monster manifests. First, the total blackout, where nothing works. Second, the partial failure, where the lights are on but the data is wrong. And third, the value failure, where the math just doesn't add up.
And we're going to go super deep. We aren't just going to list T codes for an hour. We're going to talk about the silent killers in master data, the hidden switches in item categories, and we're going to do something we rarely do. We're going to open the hood and actually look at a BAP debugger.
Let's start with the scariest one then, the total blackout. You open the sales order, you go to the item data, you click on the conditions tab, expecting to see your list of prices and discounts, and it's gray. Or it's completely blank. Or you get that infamous error message at the bottom of the screen, V1212.
Pricing procedure could not be determined. That is the system just screaming into the darkness. It's saying, I don't even know what rules to play by.
When this happens, our notes say the root cause is almost always 4 letters, OVKK.
OVKK. Yeah, if you were an SD consultant, you should have this tattooed on your arm. Transaction OVKK maps to table T683. This is the matrix. To find a pricing procedure, the system needs 4 specific coordinates. It's like a safe with a 4-digit combination lock. If you get 3 right but miss the 4th,
the safe just stays locked.
Exactly. It stays locked.
Okay, let's unpack these coordinates because I think people gloss over them all the time. What is the first tumbler in the lock?
The first one is the sales area. That is your sales organization, your distribution channel, and your division. This answers the fundamental question of where are we selling this?
That seems pretty straightforward. But does it ever trip people up?
It does, usually when you have really complex organizational structures, but generally the sales area is reliable because it comes straight from the order header.
Okay, coordinate number 2.
The document pricing procedure, or DDoPP. This answers the question, what kind of document is this? Is it a standard order? A return? A credit memo request? You configure this in the sales document type setup transaction VOV8.
I want to pause right here because I have seen this go wrong personally. You create a new custom order type, let's say ZOR for a ZRush order. You copy it from a standard order and you think you're good.
Right. But maybe you copied it from a document type that had the document pricing procedure field left blank or set to something obscure. You have to go into VOV8, look at the field TVAK and make sure it has a value like an A for standard orders. If that field is empty, your combination lock is missing a number.
Got it. So sales area plus document type, what is number 3?
This is the big one, the customer pricing procedure, or CUP-PP. This answers the question, who are we selling to?
And this is defined in the customer master.
Correct. In the customer master data, there is a field that tells the system if this specific customer is retail, wholesale, government, intercompany, whatever. And this is exactly where we run into the customer master trap.
Talk to me about this trap, because our research really highlights this as a major point of failure, especially during rollouts.
It is a classic consultant killer. Imagine you are doing a rollout in Italy. You're rushing to get 5,000 customers loaded before Monday morning go live. You use a mass upload tool. You fill in all the mandatory fields, name, address, tax ID. The upload says success.
You feel great. You go home for the weekend.
You feel great until Monday morning when absolutely no orders can be priced. Why? Because the customer pricing procedure field, which is KALKS in the table KNVV, wasn't marked as mandatory in your field status group.
So the system just let you create the customer without it.
Exactly. You created a headless customer, effectively. When you create the sales order, the system goes to OVKK. It says, okay, I have the sales area, I have the document type, but for the customer pricing procedure,
I have null.
right, I have null. It looks for a rule for null and finds nothing. Total blackout.
And the worst part is actually finding this field, right? It is not always sitting right there on the main screen.
Oh, it loves to hide. Depending on your screen layout in XDO3 or the business partner transaction, it is often tucked away. Sometimes it's on the sales tab, sometimes it's on the billing tab. You really have to hunt for it. If you have a total blackout, this is the very first place I look. Is that field empty?
Okay, so we have sales area, document procedure, customer procedure. What is the 4th coordinate?
The 4th is the output itself, the pricing procedure schema you want the system to actually find. The logic is if coordinates 1 + 2 + 3 match, then use pricing procedure X.
So if I'm the detective here and I have a total blackout, I need to verify these 4 things. Where do I actually look in the failed order? Do I have to go to all these different T codes just to check?
No, start at the scene of the crime, go to the sales order header, click on the sales tab. There is a field labeled prick procket for pricing procedure. Is it empty?
If it's empty, the lookup failed.
Right. If it is populated, but the pricing is still weird, then your problem is an OVKK. But if it's empty, you know one of your coordinates is completely broken.
Now, there's one more trap in this section that I found really fascinating. The notes call it the consultant killer, the division trap.
This one is nasty. It really makes you question your sanity.
Paint the picture for us. How does it happen?
Okay, so you check OVKK. You see an entry for sales org 1000, distribution channel 10, division 00. It points to a perfectly valid procedure. You look at your sales order header. It says sales org 1000, didiste, division 00. Everything matches. It absolutely should work.
Theoretically, the lock should open.
But it is failing. Why? Because you entered a material on the line item that belongs to division 99.
Wait, why does the materials division matter at all? The header says division 00.
This is where SAP gets really tricky. In the sales document type configuration, in VOV8, there's a checkbox called check division. If that flag is set, the system effectively says, I don't care what the header division is, I am going to use the division from the material itself for pricing.
So suddenly, for that one specific line item, the system is looking for an OVKK entry for division 99.
Exactly. And if you didn't configure OVKK for division 99 because you thought, well, we only use division 00 for pricing, then boom, blackout.
That feels like a design flaw. Why would anyone actually want that?
Well, historically, divisions were used for profit and loss reporting. You might want the television sales to follow a completely different pricing logic than the refrigerator sales. But in modern SAP setups, this is mostly just a headache.
So how do we fix it? Do we have to maintain OVKK for every single material division? That sounds like a maintenance nightmare.
You could, but you really shouldn't. The solution architect move here is to use common division. Transaction VOR2.
VOR2, how does that help?
You tell the system, hey, for the purposes of master data and pricing, treat division 99, division 98, and division 97 as if they were division 00. You map them all to a single reference division. That way, you only configure OVKK once for division 00, and it covers everything.
That is so much smarter. So if you are seeing a division error, immediately check VOR2.
Always.
Okay, that covers the total blackout. The lock didn't open. Now let's say the lock opens. The pricing procedure determines correctly. You see the schema name, but the numbers are wrong, or they're just missing entirely.
The partial failure, the lights are on, but nobody is home.
You look at the conditions tab. You expect to see your base price, PR000, your discounts, K007, your tax, MWST. But PR00 is missing, or tax is missing. The tab just looks incomplete.
This brings us to the single most important tool in the functional consultant's toolkit, the analysis button.
I feel like a lot of people click this button, see a huge wall of text, and just immediately close it.
They do. They treat it like a terms and conditions page.
Yeah.
But you have to read it like a story. It is a detailed, step-by-step log of everything the pricing engine tried to do. It tells you exactly where it looked and exactly why it failed.
Let's decode the symbols because the interface can be a bit cryptic. You click analysis, you see your condition type on the left, and you see a symbol. Let's start with the yellow triangle.
The yellow triangle says condition missing.
What means?
It means the system searched for a record but didn't find one that it could apply. But, and this is critical, you have to drill down. Don't just stare at the triangle, click on the condition type. It will expand to show the access sequence.
The access sequence is the search strategy, right? Like, look for a customer-specific price first. If not found, look for a material price.
Correct. When you expand it, you will see every table access it tried. And on the right side, you will see a message. There is one specific message that separates the experts from the rookies, and that is access not made, initialized field.
Access not made, initialized field. That
Yeah.
sounds like heavy technical jargon. Translate that for us.
It translates to, I wanted to check this table, but I couldn't even start.
Why couldn't it start?
Because a key field required for the search was entirely blank in the input data.
Give me an analogy for that.
Imagine you have a phone book. You want to look up John Smith. You know the last name is Smith, but you forgot the first name. Can you find John Smith in a phone book if you don't know John?
No, you can't even begin to look through all the Smiths.
Exactly. That is access not made. The system is saying the access sequence requires a price group to perform this search, but the customer master has an empty price group field. So I am skipping this access entirely.
That is a massive distinction from I looked and didn't find a record.
Massive difference. I look and didn't find a record means you literally forgot to maintain the price in VK11. Access not made means your master data is incomplete. If you try to fix access not made by creating a price record, it still will not work because the system will never look for it.
That is the aha moment right there.
Mm.
If you see initialized field, stop looking at pricing records. Go directly to the customer or material master and fix the missing data.
Precisely.
Okay, what about the red exclamation point? It says, condition record exists but has not been set.
This one is heartbreaking. It means you did almost everything right. The record is there. The system found it. It pulled it out of the database and then decided to just throw it in the trash.
Why would it do that? That seems completely rude.
It is usually a requirement. In your pricing procedure, next to every condition type, there is a column called requirement. These are numbers like 2, 7, 9. These are little snippets of AB app code that act like gatekeepers.
Like bouncers at the club.
Exactly like bouncers. The bouncer checks your ID. Requirement 2, for example, is very common. It checks, is this item relevant for pricing? If the item category is something weird, the requirement might say no. Technically, the routine returns a SYSUBRC equals 4.
We will definitely get to SYSUBRC later, but basically the bouncer said, not tonight.
Right. So the red exclamation point tells you there is a logical conflict. It is not missing data. It is a business rule preventing the price from applying.
Could it also be an exclusion?
Yes, absolutely. If you have condition exclusion set up where the system picks the best price between two options, the loser price will be shown with a red exclamation point, or sometimes it's explicitly labeled inactive.
There's one more trap in this section that I see all the time, the release status trap.
This is a classic user error disguised as a system bug. You check VK13, you see the record, the dates are perfect, the material is right, the customer is right, but the analysis is missing.
You feel like you're losing your mind. You're pointing at the screen going, it is right there.
But you have to scroll to the right in VK13. Look at the processing status field.
What are we actually looking for?
If your project uses status profiles, for example, maybe prices have to be approved by a manager before they become active. That record might be sitting in a blocked or pending status.
And standard SAP pricing logic just ignores those.
Completely. To the pricing engine, a pending record is invisible. It is a ghost. So always, always check the status. If it's yellow, it's not live.
That transitions perfectly into our next section. We've touched on it, but let's fully explore section 3, the silent killers, master data.
The statistics here are really humbling. I would say about 60% of the Severity 1 pricing tickets I get are not configuration issues. They aren't code issues. They are just bad data.
We always want to blame the complicated config, but usually it's just that someone forgot to type a 1 in a box.
Exactly. It's user error.
Let's talk about the pricing date mismatch. This feels like a pure logic puzzle.
It is. Here is the scenario. You create a sales order on January 5th. You have a price record that is valid starting January 6th. Obviously, the system won't pick it up. That's simple.
Right, it's too early.
But here is the variable. In the real world, the user creates the order on the 5th, but they change the requested delivery date to the 10th. They assume, since I'm delivering on the 10th, I should get the price valid on the 10th.
That seems like a totally reasonable assumption for a human being.
But SAP is not a human. SAP looks at the configuration of the pricing date, which is PRSDT. By default, the pricing date is often copied from the document date, the creation date. So even if you change the delivery date to next year, the pricing date might stay stubbornly stuck on January 5th.
So the user screams, the price is valid, look at the delivery date, but the system is quietly looking at a hidden date field.
Correct. The fix is to manually change the pricing date field in the sales order header. Set it to the date you think the price should be valid. If the price suddenly appears, you know you have a validity gap.
Next silent killer, material pricing groups, KONDM. This is huge in retail, right?
Massive. In retail or consumer packaged goods, you do not price every single tube of toothpaste individually. You create a pricing record for toothpaste 100 grams, and then you tag all the flavor variants, mint, cinnamon, charcoal, with the same material pricing group.
So the access sequence is just looking for a customer plus material pricing group.
Right. Now imagine a master data steward creates a new flavor, toothpaste strawberry. They create the material, but they completely forget to fill in the material pricing group field on the sales org 2 view.
The system tries to price it. The access sequence looks for the group. The group is blank.
Access not made. The pricing fails. And the consultant spends hours checking the pricing record in VK13, not realizing the material master is actually the culprit.
It's amazing how these little fields in the material master or customer master act as the keys to the entire engine.
They are the fuel. The configuration is just the engine. If you don't put fuel in, the engine doesn't spin.
Let's move to section 4, the hidden switches. This is where we look at item categories.
This is for the scenario where you check the header and pricing looks totally fine, but then you look at a specific line item and the conditions tab is just gone.
Like not there at all.
Not there. Or the values are 0 and everything is completely grayed out. This is controlled by transaction VOV7 item category configuration.
What is the specific switch we need to check in there?
There is a field called pricing, PVAP, PRSFD. It is a simple dropdown. If it's X, you get standard pricing. If it's B, you get free goods pricing, which has its own whole hidden logic. But if it is blank,
No pricing.
no pricing at all. The engine is never even called for that item.
When does this actually happen? Why would you have an item with no pricing?
Text items, notes, or maybe packing material like a pallet that you need to track inventory for but you don't charge the customer for. The item category might be TATX or TAN.
But sometimes a consultant might accidentally switch this off for a real item.
It happens all the time. Someone duplicates an item category to make a custom one, forgets to check the flag, and suddenly your new Z-Service item isn't generating any revenue.
There's another flag there called statistical. TVAPKOMLK. I find this one confusing.
This is a source of great confusion for finance teams, constantly. If you check statistical, the pricing engine runs. You see the conditions, you see the values. It looks totally perfect. But if you look at the net value of the line item at the top, it is 0.
So the customer pays nothing.
The customer pays absolutely nothing. The pricing is there for information purposes only. Maybe you want to track how much the item would have cost, or you need the cost for profitability analysis in COPA, but you aren't actually billing the customer.
So if a user puts in a ticket and says, pricing isn't working because the net value is 0, you should check if the item category is marked statistical. It might be working perfectly just statistically.
Exactly. The system is doing what it was told.
Okay. We are getting deeper now. We've covered the functional side, we've checked OVKK, we've analyzed the access sequence, we've audited the master data, but sometimes everything looks right and it still fails. This is where we separate the juniors from the solution architects. Section 5, the real expert zone, technical troubleshooting.
This is where we finally go under the hood.
The source notes say something that might really surprise people. Pricing does not read database tables like VBAK or VBAP directly.
No, it does not. And this is a fundamental concept that you have to understand if you want to be an expert in this module. The pricing engine runs on communication structures, specifically KOMK and KOMP.
Okay, let's unpack those acronyms because they sound like robots from a 70s sci-fi movie.
Yeah, they do. KOMK stands for the Pricing Communication Header. It holds header-level data: the customer, the sales area, the dates, the payment terms. KOMP is the pricing communication item. It holds the item data: the material, the quantity, the plant, the net weight.
So visualize this for me. I create a sales order. I hit enter. What is actually happening?
Before the pricing engine even starts, the system runs a routine that gathers all the data from your screen and from the database tables. It packs all that data into these two suitcases, KOMK and KOMP. Then it hands those suitcases over to the pricing engine. The engine opens the suitcases and uses only what is inside to run the logic.
So if a piece of data is on your screen, but it didn't make it into the suitcase,
The engine cannot see it. It does not matter if it is staring you in the face in VA01. If it's not in KOMK or KOMP, it literally does not exist to the pricing engine.
that is a critical distinction. So how do we see what's actually in the suitcase? We have to debug.
We have to debug. Now, I know functional consultants get scared of the debugger. They think it's just for developers. It's not. It is your best friend.
Walk us through the procedure. Step by step. I am at my desk. I have the broken order open in VA02. What do I do?
Step 1, type /H in the command box at the top left. That activates debugging mode. You'll see a little message at the bottom that says, debugging switched on.
Step 2.
Trigger an update. Change a quantity by 1. Or go to the Conditions tab and click Update. Anything that forces the system to rethink and recalculate.
Step 3.
The screen will freeze and a new window pops up. This is the AB app debugger. It looks intimidating. Lots of code. Don't panic. Go to the menu at the top. Breakpoints, then breakpoint at, then function module. A box will pop up. Type the word pricing. Just pricing.
That's the name of the function module that runs the engine.
That is the gateway. Hit enter. Then hit F8 to execute. The system will run until it hits that specific function module, and then it will stop. You are now standing at the front door of the pricing engine.
Okay, I am at the door. How do I check the suitcases?
On the right side of the screen, there is a Variables tab. Type com_head_I, that is the internal name for KOMK. Then type com_item_I, that is the internal name for KOMP. Double-click them. They will open up almost like a spreadsheet. You can see every single field and every single value that was passed to the engine.
And this is where you find the smoking gun.
This is exactly where you find the missing field issue. Let's say your business uses a custom field, like ZZ region, to determine price. You added it to the fields catalog, you added it to the access sequence, you have records maintained for region A, but in the debugger, you look at KOMK, scroll down to ZZ region, and it is completely empty.
So the suitcase doesn't have the region ticket in it.
Exactly. And because it's empty, the engine can't match it to the record. Access not made.
If that happens, how do we fix it?
The root cause here is almost always a missing user exit. There is a legendary program called RV60AFZZ. Within that program, there's a specific exit called User Exit Pricing Prepare TCOMK. You or your ABAPer have to write code there to tell the system, hey, go grab the region from the customer master table and put it into the KONK suitcase.
If that code is missing, the suitcase stays empty.
And pricing fails. It connects perfectly back to the analysis tool. The analysis tells you that the field is blank. The debugger proves why it's blank.
That is powerful. We also have routine debugging in the notes. Transaction VOFM.
Right. Remember the bouncers, the requirements. If requirement 2 is failing and you don't know why, you go to transaction VOFM. Navigate to formulas, then condition value. Find routine 2. You can actually view the source code, set a breakpoint inside that code.
Then run the order again.
Run the order. The debugger will stop right inside the requirement logic. You can step through it line by line. You watch the value SYSUBRC. Think of SYSUBRC as a traffic light. If it is 0, it is green. The requirement passes. If it turns to 4, it is red. The requirement failed.
So you can watch the exact moment the traffic light turns red.
Yes. Maybe the code checks KOMP net WR, the net value, and fails if it is 0. Maybe it checks for a specific item category. The code will tell you the absolute truth. No more guessing.
It's amazing. When you get to this level, there is no ambiguity left. The system tells you exactly what is happening if you just know how to listen to it.
That is the solution architect mindset. Pricing isn't random. It's strictly logical.
Let's touch on Section 6, Advanced Scenarios. These are the things that aren't necessarily broken, but they can be incredibly confusing. First up, condition exclusion.
Transaction OB31. This is for when you have multiple valid prices, say a base price and a special promo price. Which one actually wins? You set up exclusion groups. You can say best condition wins, which means the lowest price for the customer, or best condition within a specific type.
Or least favorable if you're feeling mean.
Well, or if you are trying to maximize margin. But if this is misconfigured, the system might find your promo price, compare it to the base price, and decide to hide the promo price because the logic told it to. The analysis tab will show inactive due to exclusion.
What about group conditions? This solves the scaling problem, right?
This is a classic frustration. Imagine a customer buys 100 widgets, but they enter them as 5 lines of 20 widgets each because they are shipping to different stores. Standard pricing looks at each line individually. It says, oh, you bought 20, no discount. You need to buy 100 to get the discount.
And the customer gets angry and says, I bought 100 total. Give me the bulk rate.
To fix this, you mark the condition type as a group condition in transaction V/06. This tells the system, before you look up the scale, sum up the quantities of all matching items in the entire document. So 20 plus 20 plus 20 plus 20 plus 20 equals 100. The scale is read for 100 and everyone gets the discount.
Finally, let's talk about currency issues. This one seems straightforward, but it can cause a hard stop.
It's the value is zero problem. Imagine you have a mandatory condition like output tax MWST. You cannot save the order without it. The condition record exists. It is maintained in euros. But the document is being created in US dollars.
The system has to convert euros to dollars.
Right. It goes to the exchange rate table, OB08. But let's say there is no exchange rate maintained for the pricing date, or the rate is invalid.
So the conversion just fails.
The conversion returns 0. 10 euros becomes $0. The system sees value equals 0 on a mandatory condition. It panics. It throws the error mandatory condition missing. This is highly misleading because the condition record isn't missing. The calculated value is missing because of the exchange rate.
That is a really tricky one. You would be looking for the tax record forever, but the problem is actually sitting in the finance settings.
Always check OB08 if you have cross-currency pricing.
Wow. Okay, we have covered a massive amount of ground here, from the 4 coordinates of OVKK to the hidden fields in the customer master, all the way down to the ABB code in the debugger. But now let's bring it back to reality. The client is on the phone. The truck is at the dock. The pressure is on. You can't just wander through the system experimenting. You need a protocol. Section 7 provides a panic checklist.
This is your survival guide. When the heat is on, do not freestyle. Follow the steps.
Step 1.
The visual scan. Look at the screen. Is the conditions tab even there? If no, go immediately to OVKK for procedure determination and VOV7 for the item category pricing flag. If yes, proceed to step 2.
Step 2.
The analysis scan. Click the analysis button. Find the specific condition that is failing. Read the flags. Is it a yellow triangle? Check for access not made. If you see that, stop. Check your master data fields like price group, customer scheme, etc. Is it a red exclamation? Check your requirements in VOFM and your exclusion logic.
Step 3.
The update test. Click Update on the Conditions tab. Select B, Carry out new pricing. Did the price appear? If yes, it was just a timing issue. The master data was created after the order. You are done. If no, it's structural.
Step 4.
The master data audit. Do not trust what you think you know. Do not trust what the user tells you. Open VK13. Copy and paste the customer and material numbers exactly from the sales order. Do not type them manually. You might miss a leading 0 or a space. Search. If VK13 finds nothing, the record isn't there. If it finds it, check the dates and the release status. The technical debug. If all else fails, open the hood. Activate/H. Check the contents of KONK and KOMP. See what the engine is actually seeing. If the data isn't in the suitcase, it is a user exit issue.
That is an incredibly powerful list. If you follow that, I don't see how you can fail.
Yeah.
And to wrap up, let's do a rapid-fire rundown of the memory bank. The T-codes every expert needs to have locked and loaded.
Ready. OVKK. Pricing procedure determination. The map.
V/8.
Pricing procedure definition. The rules.
Z/07.
Access sequence. The search strategy.
V/06.
Condition type. The behavior.
VOV.
Item category. The switch.
VOV8.
Sales document type. A document pricing procedure.
XT03 and MMS tree.
Customer and material masters. The source.
EK11.
The data maintenance.
The DOFM.
The formulas and requirements.
And SE38.
The editor for user exit.
That is the complete toolkit. So what is the final takeaway here? We have gone really deep, but if you had to summarize the deep dive philosophy for pricing troubleshooting.
Troubleshooting pricing isn't about guessing. It is a filter process. First, check the architecture in OVKK. Is the structure sound? Second, check the logic in the access sequence. Is the search strategy valid? Third, check the data in the condition records. Is the fuel in the tank? Fourth, check the mechanics and the communication structures. Is the data getting to the engine? If you follow that specific path, architecture, logic, data, mechanics, you will find the problem. Every single time. Understanding the flow from master data to communication structures to the pricing engine is what makes you an expert.
I really love that. It takes the fear out of it. It removes the magic and replaces it with pure logic. So, to our listeners, here is my challenge to you. Don't wait for the next crisis. Go open up your sandbox system tomorrow. Find an old sales order. Click that analysis button and really read it. Look for the access not made lines. Look at the requirements. Try to change the pricing date and see what happens. Get comfortable with the tools before the panic sets in. And think about this. With all the talk about AI these days, imagine a future where dynamic machine learning algorithms replace these static OVKK tables entirely. You wouldn't be troubleshooting a missing record. You'd be troubleshooting why the AI decided your customer deserves a 50% discount on a Tuesday. That's a whole different level of detective work to look forward to.
Absolutely. The best time to learn the analysis tab is when the phone isn't ringing and the boss isn't yelling. And who knows what the engine will look like in 10 years.
It's exactly. Build that muscle memory now. Well, that wraps up our deep dive into the SAP Pricing Detective. We hope this helps you crush that next Severity 1 ticket with total confidence. Thanks for tuning in, and keep diving deep.
Catch you next time.